No more of this unorganized jumble. Today, I'm going to be showing you my tips on how to make a to-do list that actually works. Having a to-do list doesn't have to be complicated. It's only complicated if you make it complicated. You just have to figure out a way that works for you. Having a to-do list clears your mind from static stress, and ultimately, if having a to-do list helps you prioritize your life so you can then enjoy your life, then why wouldn't you do it? What is your style? First, ask yourself, are you a digital person or are you a tangible person? Digital people prefer to have everything on their phone or on a computer. It's easier to rearrange items quickly without using any erasers or whiteout. Tangible people tend to use paper, pens, and whiteboards. Second, are you more of a record keeper or do you not really care? Do you like to see your past progress, or are you the type of person that once it's done and you want it out of your life forever? That being said, I like to think that there's 4 different types of to-do lists. You have the digital and delete, digital and keep, tangible and trash, and tangible and keep. Digital and delete is using any type of digital note, app, or document. And basically, after you finish your task, you can delete it and not have to think about it again. Next is digital and keep. I'm a digital and keep kind of gal. You find a digital note, document, or app, and then as you complete your task, you can mark them as done and then save them into your record, and then if you want to see your progress, you can go back and see it all. I personally love using Notion and Excel. Then there is the tangible and trash, which is like using like Post-its or like paper, whiteboards, and when you're done completing the task, you can erase it or discard it. Finally, there's tangible and keep, and this is like using calendars, bullet journals, or planners. My favorite tangible planner is something called a passion planner. So even though I am a digital and keep kind of gal, I still enjoy actually writing things down in my passion planner. Finding what style works for you will help you start off on the right track. Also, some quick tips I wanted to share. Tip number 1, don't use anything you don't understand. If you don't understand Evernote, then don't use Evernote. It's harder to stay motivated when you don't understand. Tip number 2, don't start anything you know you won't use. If you like the way something looks, but you don't really think you're gonna use it, then don't start it. For me, I really tried the whole bullet journal thing, but because I feel like I can't make any mistakes, I really ended up sucking at those. Tip number 3, no need to get fancy. No need to get 15 different types of lists because the most productive person you know has 15 different types of lists. Pick a list that works for you and just stick to it. Next step to think about is the list should be accessible. Your to-do list needs to be easily accessible. You have to figure out where you want to keep your list, whether you're using Evernote, Asana, Notion, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, paper, notebook, journal. Have it be easily accessible. If you always keep your phone with you, that's great. But if you're a tangible person, your list could always be a small notebook that you put in your purse or in your bag or maybe in your pocket. If it's an app on your phone, have the app on your home page. If it's on your computer, keep the file on your desktop or pin the tab to the top of your browser. If your list is close to you, you can quickly write things down without having to memorize what you need to do. The less you have to memorize, the better. If you like keeping your list at home, but you remembered something you wanted to add to your list when you were away from the house, you can always make a voice note on your phone and then come back to it later. And then when you get home, you can then write that down. If you like what you see so far, do me a favor and click that subscribe button. Here at Build Your Moxie, I cover self-improvement, productivity, and finances. Next step to do is write down everything. Get it all down on paper or type it out and get it out of your mind. Clear that clutter so you can think more clearly. Everything you can think about, you're gonna get that down. If you can't think of everything all at once, it's okay to sit on it, but keep your list easily accessible so you can do your brain dumps throughout the day. It's okay to do other things as you try to remember what you want to put on your list. We are also writing everything down so we can tie up all the loose ends. Don't worry about making anything pretty at this stage. Just get it out of your head. Soon we're going to make it look nicer. Also, depending on how big this brain dump is, be careful not to spiral. We're not trying to solve cancer, and we're not trying to create world peace with your to-do list. Next step to think about is make sure there's an end. If you're going to put something on your to-do list, it has to have an end. If it doesn't have an end, it's never going to get done. Like building a bookshelf, that has an end. Making myself prettier, that doesn't have an end. Buying sheet masks or getting my eyebrows done, that has an end. You see what I mean? We're trying to win here and crush that list. If you have items that don't have an end, it's okay to brain dump that onto another page, and later we can work on breaking it down. This brings me to my next point, which is break it down. Break it down. Break your bigger projects into smaller pieces. If a task is too big, it's going to be difficult to get done, and then you're going to feel stinky. Here is an example of how to break it down when it comes to a bigger project, like getting a bookshelf. Step 1. Figure out how many books you have. Step 2. Research the bookshelf you want. Step 3. Find out how big the bookshelf needs to be. Step 4. Buy bookshelf. Step 5. Pick up bookshelf or get it delivered. Step 6. Construct bookshelf. Step 7. Organize books on bookshelf. So instead of having a massive vague task like getting a bookshelf, we were able to break it down into 7 mini steps. Now, just pick 1 or 2 steps a day, and in a few days, you're gonna have this project done. So remember, break it down. How do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. If you're starting to feel overwhelmed, be sure to breathe. As a physical therapist, I'm always teaching my patients how to do diaphragmatic breathing. So instead of breathing up here through your chest, put your hands on your low core and do some deep belly breaths. You got this. Next step to do is categorize your items. One way to really stress yourself out is to have 50 things on your to-do list with no direction on where to start. In the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey talks about a way to prioritize your tasks. There are 4 quadrants: urgent and important, urgent but not important, not urgent but important, and not urgent and not important. The urgent and important quadrant is something you need to prioritize first. The urgent but not important quadrant is the one that you need to get done, but you shouldn't spend a lot of time on it, so do it and move on. The not urgent but important quadrant is stuff you need to do, but there is no deadline on it, so you shouldn't stress about it and instead just do it when you have time. Lastly, there's the not urgent and not important quadrant. Feel free to delegate these tasks if you want, or just eliminate them. Categorizing your tasks like this will give you a bird's eye view and will give you guidance on what your next step should be. For me, because I use Notion a lot, I love categorizing my items as urgent, less urgent, currently doing, keep eye on, and done. Urgent category I do right away, and that usually moves into my currently doing category pretty quickly. Less urgent category I am normally rearranging all the time, and as they become more urgent, I slide them over to urgent. If I did everything on my end, but I am waiting for another party to finish their part, I will put it in the keep eye on category. For example, waiting for a reimbursement to go through. Then I have my favorite category, which is the done category, because I love getting things done. This system has worked for me for years because as plans change, I just move items from category to category without having to erase anything. Using Notion satisfies my digital and keep list making style. You can also separate your items into categories you need done this week, this month, and this year if that works for you. With these tips, you can make a to-do list that actually works. If you want more tips on productivity, I made another video on 10 things that productive people are doing, which I will link right here.